we're so glad you've come. We're so glad you've arrived.
You said that, and I deliberately did the work to not make the obvious joke.
Yeah, if only I could back it up, but I said it.
I have a distinct memory shortly after I learned the word "come," having walking through the grocery store co-op with my dad when I was I don't know, 12, 13, and saying to him, somebody in the conversation said something about something, and then we'll come over or whatever. And I said, I have a hard time anymore hearing the word "come" and not thinking of semen. And he was like, and then just to change the subject.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, because how else do you tell a child, I don't feel like talking about semen with you?
There's no way to say that. Because everybody's always telling kids, you could talk to me about these things. And then when they try, you're like, I really don't want to talk to you about
exactly. That's unpleasant.
Can't you talk to anybody else about that?
And I remember
the guy with the ice cream truck. I'll go talk to him all about it.
I remember at the time being kind of like, what a pussy. Like, we can't be real about this at the grocery store.
What a coward.
Yeah, exactly right.
Get real.
Yeah, grow up. That's kind of fun. That is kind of like a Calvin-esque position to take. Like, come on, grow up, Dad.
It is, and it's satisfying after the fact. Yeah. Very funny.
I think one of our very first sketches took place in a grocery store. We had some fellow.
I remember it was all about the dividers.
Yeah, the clerk was dressing down the guy with the dividers. I can't remember. Maybe we'll revisit that when we do our remastering. But anyways,
if I recall, it ends with a weird monster thing too, just in the background for no reason.
We always wanted to push into monsters.
Yeah, we want to do weird stuff.
Anyways, our weird stuff for this week.
Yes, at the very end of last week's cast, we had our buddy cops disappear through an outside portal. That was the very last scene. They chased the Alphabetical Order, who happened to have our nice Fargo cops.
Did the Alphabetical Order have our Fargo cops? Is that what was going on with them?
Yes, the Chronological Order arrested them, and then the Alphabetical Order came by and took them. They abducted them right out of the perp van.
Was there a reason for that?
The Chronological Order arrested them because they basically broke space-time by beating us to a diner.
Right, that's why they did that. And then why did the Alphabetical Order let them out?
Because they took them into custody instead because they kept ending sentences with A.
Oh, right. That's how preposterous.
Yeah, but it was just stupid enough to work.
That's stupid enough to make me laugh very hard.
So the Alphabetical Order took them, and then rather than trying to engage in some kind of high-speed chase with the perp van and its escort, they're just like, fuck this, and they went through a tear in reality all the way to the outside where the Chronological Order wouldn't dare follow them.
Right, okay, very good, yes. That is,
and so our buddy cops decide that they will pursue this. They want to know what the Alphabetical Order is up to, and Columbo says, I've got a couple conditions, and one more thing, I get to smoke in the car. And then off they went.
And then they head off to the outside together. Okay, very good.
Yes.
So should we open on them going through a bit of a like a wormhole sequence, like a
They're in the car too, so I think it's an opportunity for like a Technicolor sort of driving sequence.
Yeah, like on the Rainbow Road.
Yeah, like there's sparkles and stars and weird. It looks like an acid trip while they're driving.
Oh, Winona on her broom flies by.
Oh, I like that.
A couple of those references. We just made this reference recently when we did the Wonka thing, but like the tunnel that they go in. Like there's the image of like somebody cutting a chicken's head off is like projected onto the tunnel.
Meta.
The sky around the Rainbow Road just becomes a big crazy projection.
What is it projecting today?
Oh, maybe it's one of the jailhouse rock things. Jailhouse rock, schoolhouse rock. Go on.
I think I've made that exact Freudian slip on this show before.
Yeah, I think so. I recall that.
I For some reason it just flows really well. Jailhouse Rock, that's our version of it now. Jailhouse Rock, that's how a pill becomes a flaw.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, that's the name of our first Blue Pill sketch.
It is. I'm just trying to recontextualize jail. I know Jailhouse Rock is a thing, but Jailhouse Rock as Schoolhouse Rock, it's different jail themed.
Oh yeah, it's got to be jail themed, and it's all performed by inmates.
Yeah.
There's one guy smuggling a pack of cigarettes up his ass
Doing a crybaby
and
routine.
doing a song about it.
Yeah.
Have his dance is a little bit awkward because he's suitcasing. That's what they call it. He's smuggling an extra tube of toothpaste for a friend.
Suitcasing, for whatever reason, reminded me of a Bob Saget bit from the Jim Brewer Serious show from like circa 2005, 2006, talking about pulling his mom's spine out of her back and carrying her around like a suitcase.
Ugh, grim.
R.I.P. Bob Saget and your weird fucking brain. And your poor fucking mother. Talk about stepping on a crack.
Yeah, Mom will never get over that one.
When you were a kid, did you ever do the crack thing?
I never did crack as a kid.
More like superstitious, avoiding cracks or deliberately stepping on them because you're mad at your mom. Like this, mom.
I would go back and forth, but my OCD was also much more severe as a kid. So if I did step on a crack with one foot, I had to immediately do the same with the other foot.
Oh yeah, it was. I was always trying to make sure that my feet stayed. I could only take one step on a slab and then another step on the other slab. But if the slabs were too long, then it was 2 steps per slab, and I would start doing that weird stutter step because I didn't have enough room to take a second step on the slab. You know?
Oh yeah, my steps. I would try to get my steps equidistant somewhere along each particular slab.
I would also do
And
that with
being a really small kid growing up in Calgary at the time,
yeah.
lots of big sidewalk slabs. So I was walking like an idiot.
Definitely. Also on mall and grocery tiles.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing, the one that plagued me actually the hardest that I first noticed as like, why am I doing this? And this is a problem. And this, I don't think other people do this, was I would raise my eyebrows as our car was driving over shadows and whatever those, when they fix the cracks in the road, but they just throw down like a line of asphalt or whatever.
Yeah, they just basically tar it up.
Yeah, tar lines and shadows. I would raise my eyebrows and imagining that the car was like bouncing over those lines in the road, and I could not stop for a whole drive.
Oh man, being a kid with OCD and not really understanding it.
Yeah.
Neurodivergent children. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Anyways, this week they went through a wormhole, and all these things are happening.
Yes, I think this is a good opportunity to actually kind of depict what happens in a wormhole during an extended driving sequence. And it should probably go on longer than is welcome, Chekhov's alley style, with like some 80s tunes in the background, very, very much like, the Stranger Things, the very 80s synth.
Oh yeah. Because it's a wormhole, do they start like abstracting?
Oh, maybe they start like stretching out.
Yeah, and like becoming wireframe renderings.
Oh, they actually degenerate into simpler and simpler forms of animation as they stretch out.
Yeah.
Eventually they're just line art and then they become like stretched out and then they start to curl up into like a crazy straw.
And then they pour out of the crazy straw into the outside.
Yeah, into like into like a weird layer. They get layered out until they're complete.
And Jeff Bridges shudders, but Columbo doesn't.
Oh yeah, Columbo's perfectly comfortable. Jeff is going to be like, ew. He'll be like Bones after being put through the transporter. He's like, oh, I feel like my stomach's been put in upside down.
Yeah, precisely. There's like just like this squelching sound as he recontextualizes.
Yeah, but I don't know if we should hang on to them for too long. I think their travel into the outside is enough. That'll be a couple of minutes probably, and then we can actually kind of fade back through the other end of the portal, because it's about time that we paid some attention to the world that is currently at war with the outside. It's time for them to start increasing the missile payload that's going through that gate.
That's kind of interesting. If they make some sort of remark to each other about the ride or about the grossness of recontextualizing or whatever, and they look back up to the pipe that they just kind of got poured out of, and it is like receding back into the cosmos, and then through that the camera like rapidly pulls out very quickly back into reality.
Oh yeah, I was thinking something like that. It's like a great big straw.
Yeah,
It sucks the audience perspective right back through
that's cool.
it. Columbo's like, "Hey, where are you going?" Eh. And then it's time for somebody to say that we've had enough with these low level missiles. It's time for some serious stuff,
I have one question. What is Columbo's first name?
like the actual character.
Yeah, the character. Did they not really mention it that much in the show?
Oh my gosh, does he have a name? Come on.
That's funny. He is credited as just Columbo.
Oh wow, yeah. Columbo's first name has never officially been identified.
Oh wow. That you know what? That makes it almost better. That makes me happy because I was going through a bit of should we come up with a new character to replace Columbo with because it is just such a random obvious reference. But it's kind of funny that he doesn't have an actual identity because our
Yeah,
character doesn't actually have an identity. It's kind of
it
meta.
makes him a mystery man.
Yeah,
Anybody can kind of be fit into that slot now.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I dig it.
Okay, so going back to the real world is done with missiles. Let's do something like extreme.
Yes, they've used enough of their kind of weak sort of missiles. It's time they decided those are just warning shots, and it's time to start pouring serious payloads. We're gonna go thermonuclear. We're gonna start nuking the outside.
And do you have a predetermined result of sending nukes into the outside?
I sure do.
Ooh, boy, what could it be?
It's gonna coalesce into something that's gonna come back.
Oh, good. Are we working our way towards that then? Is that what you mentioned earlier today?
Yes.
Or yesterday or whatever time merges together?
Yes. Eventually, the outside will manifest a response.
Okay. But for now, so where are we reconvening with our perspective? Who is having this conversation about enough is enough? Are we having the public responding to things, or are we in a leader's sort of
I think we
scenario?
should. I think we should be in the Oval Office with Nixon and Kennedy sharing a desk.
Are the desks like front to front, or are they side by side?
Or
They
are they
have
sharing one desk and one chair?
That's sort of funny. They have the what do you call it? Bunk desks scenario that we described that we had at one point when we were going to be streaming.
Yeah. I remember that. Todd is so tall.
Nixon and Kennedy. Oh, I'm tempted to do somebody's under the desk.
Either Nixon or Kennedy?
Well, it would be kind of funny if what's her name, actress Norma Ray, what's her name, Marilyn Monroe, was under Kennedy's desk, and then Deep Throat is under Nixon's. That makes sense,
Brutal.
right?
Yes, on multiple levels.
Yeah, that's why I think it makes it almost a better joke.
So they're in there side by side working at their desk. Nixon, I think, would be the one to propose that we're going a little too light on the outside and we need to intensify our attacks.
Sorry, I was figuring out how to flesh out my joke, and I didn't fully hear what you said. Go ahead or repeat that, please.
Nixon and Kennedy are sitting side by side at their shared little desk. It's probably like an L desk or something.
Right.
And it's probably Nixon out of the two that's more aggressive in the approach. He probably says that they've taken it easy on the outside so far, and it's time to intensify their attacks.
Should we put the due diligence and the research into figuring out using something that Nixon actually said about war to be like to ape him a little bit more?
I believe that would be the Vietnam War.
I'm so dumb about things, but I guess he was he pro-war then? during that time? This is Learning Things with Tucker and Todd.
I'm sure, like any president, he was both pro and against.
Well, the first thing that comes up from Smithsonian Mag is Nixon prolonged Vietnam War for political gain, so I'd say that he was pretty pro.
Yeah, well, most groups that happen to be running the White House are pretty pro-war because it makes the right people rich.
Yeah, of course. I wish I could find a quote. I'll find a quote later, but he's pro. Is Kennedy against then, or is he pro, but is he giving
Kennedy
pushback at all?
is Kennedy is more restrained, but he definitely thinks that ending the war sooner is better than dragging it out.
He's too distracted with what's going on under his desk.
At this given moment, probably I'll bet you he just says, yeah, whatever.
Oh, maybe that is the joke that we're doing, is that they're both receiving their oral treats from under their desk. But we especially we never see Marilyn Monroe, but we just have one of us doing a silly Marilyn Monroe under a desk voice.
Happy birthday,
And
Mr. President.
yeah, exactly. Maybe it's that it's the melody, it's the tune, but it's different words.
Oh,
And
it's gotta be done as a Hummer.
right. Yeah, maybe. But the whole time while Nixon is being all gung ho, uh, Kennedy seems to be agreeing with mm-hms and oh yeahs. and then the reveal is that he isn't actually saying anything other than mm-hmm and oh yeahs because he's in the throes of ecstasy. And then I don't know, maybe there's a hey, watch your elbows or something like that. And that's when Deep Throat slides out. And I'm imagining the character specifically from All the President's Men, like a cloaked figure in a garage with the hat and the sunglasses and the trench coat pulled up high, emerges from under the desk and says, "See you next Wednesday."
Oh yeah.
And then Kennedy kind of like elbows Nixon and says, "I see you got the express," or something like that.
Since Nixon's treatment is complete, he probably pages in the secretary. Since Kennedy's been all yeah,
All gung ho.
yeah. So
And never mind.
Since Kennedy has just approved of everything that Nixon wants, Nixon calls in an aide or a secretary to start, handing out these orders, which probably interrupts Kennedy's, experience. So the humming stops for the duration of the little visit.
I'm trying to figure out how him zipping up his fly could somehow cut off the happy birthday song or whatever.
The funny part is that these guys don't even have a fly.
Oh no.
No, they're physically connected to each other like cat dog.
Oh, did we discuss that already?
Yes, so whatever's happening underneath the table, it's horrifying.
It's bizarre.
Yeah,
I forgot about this.
that's why they're sharing a desk.
So are they on some sort of like weird, they're on like a piano bench?
Yeah, like an extra wide shared chair.
Because I wasn't even thinking about it before, but if it is
And
like
they have an
cat dog,
extra wide desk.
so they have no legs, they just got a shared waist and then arms?
Yeah.
They move around like Sebulba.
They probably never move around when the audience perspective is on them.
They
They're
get,
just
they
always
get wheeled
conveniently
around.
located. Like they had a shared towel when they were in the sauna together.
That's true. Oh man.
Yeah, these guys are weird.
Someday we should show the bloopers of them being moved around.
They probably have a small team that does it.
Yeah, with one of those like motor cranes.
Yeah.
All right, so the secretary comes in. This is Nixon making the declaration. He's pressing bring in the war button or whatever, the bring in the nuke button.
He's pressing the make war more intense button. He's probably going to have to call a war council.
The war council has to approve. Oh, does he have like a manual dial and you turn war up to 11 or whatever?
Oh, I like that. Just right on the desk, he'd like shoves a couple of papers to one side and opens up a hatch on the desk, and there's the dial.
Yeah.
It's on like a 7.5 right now, and he's like, nope, this won't do. We're gonna have to turn it up to 10, and then he just like wrestles with it and forces it to go past 10, and then an 11 pops up on it where there wasn't one before.
Oh, he has to like shift it down into second gear to turn it up to 11.
Yes.
All out war. Oh, is it numbers or are they named degrees? It's like a Tex Avery kind of dial.
Oh, interesting. Maybe it's similar to the color chart. Threat of terrorism imminent. I'm sure each number has its own little color gradient, and maybe it has a little bit of subtext under it.
And then, so he turns it up to, and so how does that work? How does that manifest itself? He turns the war dial up off the clock, and what happens?
That's an excellent question.
Because you also said war council. So does he turn the dial up after the war council has been called and everybody agrees they need to go all out war?
No, I think he sets it to 11 pretty much entirely for his own satisfaction, and then all that does is call the war council.
Okay. So no nukes get launched right at that moment?
No, probably not. I don't know how the Yanks do it, but I'm pretty sure that's not how the nukes work.
Oh, so we're going to actually go through that whole sequence.
Yeah, we're gonna have to call in the generals and an admiral.
Is Colonel Mustard there?
Interesting. I thought he was just the mayor of town,
Yeah, I guess he was just a mayor. He's a veteran.
and
He's an ex-
he was only mustered on Halloween. Other
Yeah,
than
that's
that,
true.
he's
You're right.
just
You're right.
Colonel Sanders.
He was Colonel Sanders. I forgot about that.
But maybe he should be there.
Just because he likes war. He's a warmonger.
Yeah, maybe he's General Sanders now. I mean, he's been promoted. He's been around long enough, and he's sold enough chicken. He's gotten a promotion.
He got an honorary promotion.
Yeah, he sold a lot of chicken.
Okay,
Oh,
so
I have an idea.
What's the idea?
Opening up the hatch that has the dial. Once the dial flips open, or rather, once it gets turned to 11, somewhere in Moscow on another desk, a very similar hatch automatically opens up.
Oh,
It's like the red telephone.
yeah.
All these systems are now just like interconnected ever since the war was called. Since
All
it's
the
all of
knobs around the world start flashing.
Yeah, because it's all of Earth against the outside. So like the one thing we're all together for.
And so does the council take place? Where do they assemble? Back in the steam room?
Yeah, I think we should do another sauna scene.
So is it a comedy cut where we see all the kind of a montage of all the heads of state around the world noticing we have the Avengers music playing as all of the knobs start flashing and everybody recognizes with very solemn faces, oh, it's all out war. We got to go to the council, and then comedy cut to them all sitting in the sauna again.
Oh yeah, I like definitely
Bah,
a
bah.
montage of all of the respective bat signals going off, as it were,
Yeah.
and then an immediate smash cut to them all in the sauna in the exact same configuration they were in the first time they were in the sauna, complete with the bear in a towel.
Right.
So everybody's in there together in the same setup they were last time.
And I'm just trying to think,
Do we show them having a discussion, or do we just show them in there during the smash cut and then immediately go resume the montage and see everybody else turning their dial to 11?
Oh, so it's just very quickly we make a reference to the fact that the council occurred, and then rather than showing any of the goings on inside the council, just show, oh, everybody decided to turn theirs up to 11, and so everybody turns theirs up to 11, and then we see all the nukes leave those countries at the same time.
Yeah, basically everybody agreed. So all of the other hatches open up, all the other knobs wind up poking out.
That's
Cue erection joke, synchronized erection joke, in fact. And then they all start beeping and flashing, and then the council's called. They all hang out in the sauna, but it's only for a moment, just long enough to register that they're in there. Then we resume the montage where everybody in sequence, the same sequence that they were all shown in, turns the knob to 11.
That's funny and efficient. Oh, do we do all sequence to 11, or at that point we've already done sequence as the pre-cut montage, and then at that point council is over, it's one of those like 16 frame in a frame. We
Yeah,
see everybody at the same
I was
time.
actually thinking the same thing. Maybe it should actually just be like a dozen panels all on the one screen of them all simultaneously clicking it to 11.
Yeah, that's funny and efficient.
And maybe there's certain nations have their own version of the dial that's kind of like appropriate to that country.
That's always funny. I mean, and yeah, also avoiding ethnic stereotypes.
Oh yeah, we want to go with national stereotypes but not ethnic ones.
China's missile is shaped like a pagoda.
Well, what about the dial?
Oh, the dial is shaped like a rice paddy hat.
Okay, welcome to the rice fields.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, that sounds like modern video game design. Everything just has a theme.
Yeah, and if it's only on screen for a moment, it'll be just for people who look, but it'd be funny. But we'll only do that with maybe a few of them.
Russia's stuff is all like concrete brutalism.
Oh yeah, concrete and like some rusty metal.
Yeah. Did you ever
Because
listen
the
to
dial is from the Soviet era.
Eugene Merman's stand up?
No.
He had a line that killed me about growing up in Russia as a kid, and it has always stuck with me about like we were on a strict diet of oxygen and tears, and it will always stuck with me as that's all that Russians consume is tears out of a bowl, not even a glass.
Sometimes not even out of a glass, but just like off somebody's face if they're fresh.
Got to get that sodium.
I have enough sodium. I've been told I'm very salty.
Hey, me too. By a doctor.
No, by everybody on the internet. Out of all the available flavors you choose to be salty, I rather thought I was more sour.
I think I'm definitely salty.
I am like a lemon.
I get
Okay,
called on
so
my attitude frequently.
oh yeah, I know your attitude, but I think it's funny. So all the correct knobs have been polished, twisted, and set to
In and out of the sauna.
yes, they have been handled and set to blow. And I don't think we need to pursue that line of inquiry any further.
Not really. So we see them all launched, and then
Yeah, then the missiles all fly pretty much directly up and then probably come right back down, like the Javelin missile, because all of the outside portals are, just like sitting around on surface level Earth.
right, they go straight up, arc up, and then straight down into the holes.
Yep.
And in the last episode where we launched missiles, they came right back out of the holes, but this time they find contact inside, or I guess
Yes.
outside.
Yes, after a couple of incidents where they wound up getting flopped right back out of holes, they've been given new guidance systems. Not only do they seek out a portal into the outside, but they like deliberately avoid portals back out. So they got like new targeting systems. So they find an immediate target once they get in, and they go and smack it.
So is this the sort of thing where we see them disappear into the outside and then cut away to one of our groups that we currently have in the outside, and they're in the middle of a conversation, and that conversation gets interrupted by a nuke blast? Not
And then
necessarily
and then
nearby.
and then a man in a leather fedora crawls out of a refrigerator. Ugh, those Russians.
Oh, is it one of the members of Boney M?
What we really need is a way to funnel all those nukes into roughly the same place. So even though they're clever enough to go through a portal and then avoid exiting again, they still all get kind of swept up into the same direction.
Do they all simultaneously destroy the only cabbage stall in all of the outside?
Oh, it's harvest just came in. We're finally ready to sell. We've been working so hard this season.
Oh man, if we were smart enough, I mean, maybe this can be part of when we finally end up remastering this season, but it would be funny if we had an entire episode earlier in the season which was about cabbage farmers, and it's like very out of context, and it seems like it's its own standalone thing. We can figure out what the joke is later, but it's setting up like how sacred these cabbages are in the outside.
Oh, how important it is that it's the family business. It starts with a father giving his son a lecture on how important it is, to maintain their legacy, their cabbage farm. It was my father's before me and his father's before him. One day it will be yours.
And
And they
it's this
open
whole
up the
thing,
stall.
yeah, is this whole
Cabbages
thing
are
about
the
like
lifeblood
dignity
of
and
this land.
pioneering. Well, we've been sucked out into this nightmare outside world, but we may as well make the most of it. Actually, being sucked into the outside killed the parents that taught him about how to grow cabbages, and so growing the cabbages was part of his like finding purpose for himself. I like how we're falling down this rabbit hole now.
Yeah. Yeah, we're shoehorning in the cabbage farm. Previously, cabbage
Yeah,
farm. And so the cabbage farm becomes an important aspect of this family's legacy, and it's their identity now, and they've become an important part of this particular community. They've found a niche, and now they're controlling it. The cabbages.
they're a cornerstone of the society. It turns out something in the outside soil made the cabbages in some way.
Yeah, they're a cornerstone of this little society anyway.
Yeah,
And then every single nuke hits the cabbage farm and stall. The family is fine, but the cabbage farm and the stall are in ruins.
decimated.
Completely decimated. It's just a crater of nuclear fire. And a single tear falls, like that public service announcement against littering.
Does a single tear fall, or the guy is like fucking finally he's like the weight of the cabbage farm is finally off of his shoulders. He can finally sting.
So we resented it the whole time?
Maybe, I don't know.
What a dickhead. I think it should be the kid. The father is completely mortified, and then the kid is like, "Oh, thank God! I was terrified
Yeah,
that I'd be stuck with cabbages for the rest of my life
now I can pursue my dream. The gnome police.
of lettuce farming."
Oh yeah.
Just some other dumb vegetable.
Oh, it's the vegetable of whatever they're. Oh, maybe this whole thing was a Romeo and Juliet scenario, and now he can finally pursue the farming of whatever vegetable that his like secret lover family was a propagator of.
Turnips.
Turnips, of course.
Yep.
All right, let's get this back on track. That was a bizarre derailment.
Yes. So every nuke flies somehow, despite the fact that they almost all went into separate portals. So a couple of dozen nukes all come out of a single portal. So multiple entryways, only one exit, and all of them directly above this cabbage farm. They all just land down and pummel it into oblivion.
And who of our main cast do we catch up with seeing that mushroom cloud on the horizon? Oh, that's what the other family. Now I can be a mushroom farmer.
Mushroom cloud. I am so inspired. Now I know what we can do. It's like it's our destiny. We're going to farm mushrooms.
But so we were going to have the chronological order meet up with the crew, and we were going to have the alphabetical order meet up with.
Now that'll be complicated because the chronological order will not come into the outside.
Right.
So the crew won't get to meet them until they leave.
Right.
But the crew can be cast out of the outside by the alphabetical order.
Right. So what order should that happen in? Because I believe that the crew should be sent on the
I
mission before.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
Well, it's going to be contingent on the alphabetical order finding us first. The alphabetical order finds us, then the Mandelalorian finds us, reports our coordinates back to the crew comes to rescue us, and then the alphabetical order, deciding that they're basically just going to get in the way of them making friends with us, sends them back to the reality.
Ah, that's interesting. So is the alphabetical order? We're not just going out on a mission for them. They're conscripting us into their service.
They are almost certainly familiar with us. If they had a headquarters in that church in Kansas, we've
Yeah.
already been in there.
That's right.
We're known to those people.
Yeah, because I don't remember if we kind of established, we'd said maybe they were some sort of fantasology thing. Have
Yep.
we said
And we spent a large section of last week's episode discussing
how they were related to each
whether the
other?
alphabetical order might be like a an off branch,
Yeah.
or if they have the same, kind of source, or if the alphabetical order isn't kind of like a well concealed heresy.
Right, right, right. Okay. Would when okay, I'm trying to plot that out. So the alphabetical order finds Tucker and Todd first, is what
Yes,
you said?
so we'll have to decide where Tucker and Todd are, but we're still dealing with nuclear devastation.
Right.
The mushroom cloud forms, and then probably that's the opportunity for the cabbage farmer to lament, cabbage farmer's kid to cheer, and then later on they can decide that it's time to farm mushrooms.
That's
But
like the last line of the episode. I'm going into mushroom farming.
yeah, but in the center of the crater there's like this little glowing mote of energy. So whatever happened, there's a reaction going on down there. And
Okay.
it's casting an eerie green glow on everything around them, including the cabbage farmer and his kid. And that's an opportunity for them to go, ugh, what's that? And then we can immediately smash cut to something else.
So it's just it's we don't know what it is yet.
No.
It's just establishing there's something beginning.
Yes.
Something is afoot.
Yep, something is awry.
Okay, so we smash cut from them
To
to
Tucker and
Tucker and
Todd running
Todd
out of Stroopwafel.
running out of Strokewaffle. Didn't they run out of Strokewaffle last week?
Yeah,
They
they're always
said,
running out of Stroopwafel.
well, I guess they always get their hands on more.
They wound up creating an entire society around stroke waffle, and then the workers got the means of production and basically kicked them out. That was a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, that they created an entire civilization around the production of stroke waffle. And as soon as they figured out how to make it, they no longer needed Tucker and Todd, so they were cast out of their own little society.
Did Tucker and Todd do anything last week?
Nope, they didn't arrive. They didn't appear in last week's episode at all.
That's funny.
But
Right,
they're
because we
here
were
now.
setting up. Okay, I understand. Okay. Okay, I guess we can, because we're cutting away to something random, they can be on the tail end of this is the same thing as, and that's why we're not allowed back in Disneyland. We not 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 literally. I mean that we can be in the middle of a line like that, but I'm kind of like in the middle of running away from whatever hijinks we were up to acquire our new hit of Stroke Waffle.
Well, we probably have a little supply that we took with us in our exile. Travel rations. They didn't kick us out with nothing. They let us have a couple of boxes of stroke waffle. And
Oh, that's kind of fun.
we've bartered and traded some of them for new clothes and stuff. We're probably starting to look a bit road warrior.
Oh, you said it was, well, you got something started in my mind already, but we can go with Roto. Or maybe we can do a mashup. But since I already did the art for it once, we could be in Bat Country style, and I've got the briefcase full of stroke waffle
Oh, I like that too. Really nice of those guys to loan us these clothes.
and this car
And this really long toothpick. I don't think that's what that's for.
and this
What
toaster.
what else could it be for?
And then later on, when we do end up meeting up with Columbo and Jeff Bridges, they're jealous of our car. Where did you get that car?
Yeah, naturally they'll home in on us. The only thing that causes more chaos on the outside is probably Tucker and Todd. There's probably something to that.
We'll circle around to that. We'll come to that. We're on our way out of whatever town is on fire. I don't know.
Yeah, we're on the road again. We've just had our latest disaster. And that's why I'm on the no-fly list.
The car is dragging. Oh, maybe we're making off. I don't know. You need to empty out the junk. There's a crying baby in the back of the car. Just got to toss everything out.
Well, that's an opportunity to do a bit of a Men in Black scene where it's like you're gonna throw the baby, not the baby, and then it like does the squid thing and throws up on one of us. And we're like, okay, it's gotta go.
It's a monster. Yeah.
It's a squid alien baby.
It's the baby from The Incredibles.
Well, it looks like a normal baby, and then it's just
But
definitely
it would
the
have to be
baby
not a
from
baby.
then it's definitely the baby from Men in Black.
Yeah.
Congratulations, it's a squid.
Okay, so they're fleeing. Did they see the mushroom cloud in the distance? Is that the time lapse that we're doing?
Sure. And once again, they go in the opposite direction of the explosions because that's served them well so far.
Precise. Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to set up. Another one.
Ugh, that one's bigger. Hey, mushrooms.
Hey, Tucker, have you noticed the explosions are getting bigger?
Nah, it's just closer. Or is it further away? I forget which one
I
it
forget
is.
how that works. I always forget how that works. Yeah. Hey, is that a mirage?
No, that's a Denny's.
It's a Denny's in the Mirage. We're in Las Vegas. It is backcountry after all.
Yeah,
That's the
we get
Mirage.
we get closer to the Denny's, and it turns out to actually be a mirage. It was just a rock. Turns out it's a landmark. It's Disappointment Rock.
A Denny's shaped rock.
Yeah.
A moon over my hammy.
So it's the Rock of Disappointment, and it's a landmark. One of the few places in the outside that are totally unchanging because disappointment is forever.
Oh, that's interesting. It's an actual tourist destination, the Rock of Disappointment, and it's sort of like the mirror of Erised or whatever.
Yeah, it's almost a cornerstone of this non-reality.
It shows you what you want most.
Until you get close enough to see that it's just a rock. So I guess at that moment I wanted to go to Denny's because what I really wanted was a Grand Slam sandwich with potato bread.
That's sort of interesting.
And then I guess for Todd,
It's a mommy.
yeah.
Well, that's what I was sort of imagining, was like showing the perspective of you looking over and seeing the mirage of Denny's. But also, should it be specifically Denny's, or should it be like a turkey leg or whatever, like they do in Looney Tunes? You look over and you see the rock looks like a whole roast chicken or whatever.
Oh, well, I'd be perfectly fine with that too.
And then you look over and Todd is like in a fetal position suckling.
Oh, that poor guy clearly did not receive enough like hugs as a kid,
Or too many.
or too many. The parenting is hard.
All the ladies in the neighborhood were offering up their hugs.
Is that how he became this way? When someone asks why are you like this, is because every lady in the neighborhood gave me too many hugs.
Hey, why are you like this? I was Edward Scissorhands as a child.
That movie is fucked up.
I agree. But anyways, our boys are running away from the explosion now. Do they run? Oh, did they try to skedaddle away from the explosion and run directly into representatives of the alphabetical order?
Well, they ran away from the explosion, and that was when they saw the Disappointment Rock.
Oh, right. I forgot. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, we just spent 15 minutes talking about it. Well done.
Yeah,
So,
Disappointment
and
Rock.
and it's a tourist destination, which means there's a small gift shop and there are people there. It's an opportunity to see a bunch of other tourists.
Who are all lining up to see the thing that they desire, only to suffer the disappointment.
Yeah, so it's basically the gift shop is probably called the consolation prize. But everything you buy there, once you take it out of the gift shop, it just becomes a really small version of the Disappointment Rock. So like you get
Oh,
a
that's funny.
T-shirt from there, and you take it out, it's just a rock.
The moment you cross past the stanchion or whatever.
Yeah, right past the threshold, it's a rock. That cool novelty mug, it's a rock. The only thing we sell here is disappointment. Unless you wanted a rock, then I guess you're in the right place.
Then the bouncers take it away.
If you're really glad, the bouncers just disappear you. They don't even let you leave. You have to stay. That is a good place for anybody who happens to be looking for us to find us.
Are we? So do we get in line to like join the tourists to like approach the rock or whatever?
We approach the rock, but we're in line to get into the gift shop. Somebody somewhere has to go to like a payphone somewhere. They side eye us. Somebody notices us. Somebody's looking at us. They shift away from the crowd and go to a payphone, make a call.
Oh, is it that camera move where the camera is following behind us as we kind of like push through the crowd, or just like resting on us as we stand in line? And as we're saying some lines, the camera slowly just kind of shifts over to somebody who, and there's like a little bit of a trumpet sting, or a saxophone's thing or whatever, as they arch their eyebrows at the thing we were saying, and it like accents them noticing us, and then move over to, as you say, the phone booth.
Because whoever this person is an informant for the Mandelalorian.
Okay. Do they look similar to the Mandelalorian? Or
No, just an informant.
okay. Is there a way that we will know at some point later when the Mandalorian? Do we know? How do we know that they're an informant for the Mandalorian, or is that important?
We know that when the Mandelalorian arrives while we're at the gift shop.
Are they going to do it like that's the guy, them over there, kind of thing?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna assume the Mandelalorian put out like a not a hit on us, but like a request for tips,
Yeah,
a
put out his
reward for
feelers.
yeah, exactly, reward for information on these two weird looking chuckleheads. We stand out in a crowd. Everybody we go everywhere we go, people notice us. So it stands to reason that somebody at this tourist attraction where lots of people do go and where it's easy to meet somebody, that there would be an informant here who tattles on us.
Oh, the guy's got stitches all over, and the Mandalorian literally says "thanks, stitches" as he gives him his little tip or whatever. Because snitches get
Stitches,
stitches. Yeah,
stitches get stitches get
stitches,
snitches now.
stitches get stitches.
In this case, Stitches gets a small bag of gold coins or something.
Yeah, stitches gets compensation.
But yes, this person goes to a payphone and makes a suspicious mumbled phone call while very clearly looking at us. And there we are, just standing in line, looking at stuff through the window.
Oh,
Hey,
does it
what are
do?
you gonna buy? Does it do what?
I was gonna ask if it does. Now I'm curious about the what are you gonna buy? But I was gonna ask if it just does a 2 hours later, and we've only moved like a couple spaces forward.
This place is real busy and real slow.
Real disappointing.
Well, in that case, I think yeah, maybe 1 hour later, and we're just like we're a couple spaces forward now, and that's an opportunity for somebody to say this line is really disappointing. It's part of the experience.
The little ticker moves up on the 1 billion disappointed sign.
Somewhere there's like a little lounge, a bunch of chairs, and there's Beetlejuice. He's got his number now serving. Yeah. We're in line ahead of Beetlejuice.
Um,
Maybe he takes one of our numbers and gets away with it.
what was the what are you gonna buy bit?
Well, we were looking at the windows in the gift shop. We haven't even gotten in yet. So we're browsing through the windows because lots of the items for sale inside are viewable through the front window.
How does that work?
Maybe
Do they all look like this?
Maybe Tucker and Todd have a conversation about, oh, what are you gonna buy? There's T-shirts and mugs and all kinds of novelty stuff you see in any gift shop.
Oh, but then when those things get out, they all turn into the stone.
Yeah, one thing that is suspiciously absent from the interior of the gift shop are any rocks. There are no little rock of disappointment memorabilia.
Oh, that's what you're like. What are you gonna buy? Well, I was kind of hoping to buy a rock.
Yeah, I wanted a replica of this rock.
I'm kind of disappointed. The ticker ticks over again.
So that's how that works. Everything advances, the more disappointed everybody is.
Yeah. And then, so how does that work then? Are you Tucker and Todd, and we're like somebody knows us? We look around and then we get clonked on the head.
Oh, I don't think anybody needs to do that. I think it just there's a little rolled up wanted poster that the Mandelalorian has in his pocket. He pulls it out, opens it up. It's like a little parchment with our faces in the old fashioned 1800s wanted style. And it's just perfect depictions of us. But we are technically in costume, so he has to look at it a couple of times.
What costume are we in?
We're in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas
Oh,
attire.
right.
So it does take a moment to get a positive ID on us. But he definitely gets us. We just look one way because somebody whistles on one side of us, which causes us to look one way, and there's nothing there, and then we just kind of bonk.
Does he check our Instagram and see the posting that we just posted of us with the Fear and Loathing costumes?
He goes back to our Instagram. There we are getting our costumes. Oh no, we're all at a stroke Hey, look, we're at the Big Rock. Here we are in line at the Big Rock.
Here
Still in
we are.
line at the Big Rock.
Here we are doing that thing where we're like, it's a bunch of like white women's Instagram memes where it's like, here's me with my hand looking back over my shoulder as I pull you, the cameraman, behind me.
And while we're still in line at the Big Rock, there's 10 posts about being in line at the Big Rock. The
Oh,
Mandelalorian is just like cringing audibly.
so it's not even called the Rock of Disappointment now. I think it should be called the Big Rock so that we can have a Big Rock Cafe reference.
Is there a Big Rock cafe, but all the food there is also just rocks?
Yeah.
And they're little rocks.
This place sucks. Ding.
I need to be excused for just a moment.
Okay.
All right, and we are back.
Welcome.
Okay, so we get bonked on the head right in front of the gift shop, which is right next to the Big Rock Cafe. We wake up hogtied in a dingy basement and simultaneously go, "Oh man, we didn't get our knickknacks. We didn't get our gifts from the gift shop."
Do
And
you
then
hear a
and then
very
it
distant
immediately,
ding?
yeah, it immediately goes back to the counter and it goes ding. Even from over here, our disappointment is fueling the counter.
And who has us?
The Mandelalorian.
Okay. I was just making sure.
Yes. Well, we didn't really see him get us because it was just somebody tricked us into looking one way while they bonked us over the head with a baton that looks very similar to one of the ones that the gnomes were using. But we are definitely in the custody of the Mandelalorian.
Oh, what did they say to make us look over there?
They just whistle.
I thought it would be kind of funny if there was a like they point and say, "Look, stroke waffle," but only you look, and they like roll their eyes and sigh and go, "And a mommy," or whatever the joke is.
Somebody has a detailed enough profile on the both of us to know exactly how to get us, huh?
Yeah, their partner like nudges them. It's in the dossier.
Do I have to? And so it's just like an authoritative woman's voice. Excuse me, Todd. What?
Young
That
man.
gets him. Todd needs a middle and a last name so that all three can be used.
Todd T.
Mega
Tuckerson.
authority. Yeah, Todd T. Tuckerson.
What's the T stand for? It's
Tiberius.
It's just Tiberius. I was just gonna say it's T.
Todd Tiberius Tuckerson. From an authoritative sounding lady. That would definitely get Todd's attention 10 times out of 10.
Taya what?
What?
Taya what? He doesn't even know what Tiberius is.
Doesn't even know his own middle name, or did somebody just make it up?
I don't know. It's just too complicated. Too many syllables.
Whatever, it worked. Bonk.
Bonk. Okay, so we're now in a dingy basement, you said?
Yeah, either that or somebody said, "Look, bats," and then I'd turn around and go, "We can't stop here. This is bat country." Because we're in costume.
Of course.
And when we're in costume, we have to play the part.
And it's Chekhov's reference.
Yeah.
I feel like
pick one.
someday in the future, we're going to have to meet an actual Chekhov character who's like the origin of all these things.
A guy named Chekhov who invents all these things?
Yeah. Or he's like the god of inevitability or something like that.
But you can call me Chekhov. The god of inevitable outcomes.
Right.
But you can call me Chekhov.
This is my friend Occam.
They would be friends.
They would know each other. They're cut from the same cloth. That's interesting.
They probably know Pythagoras.
Well, those are all characters that I would like for us to meet someday.
Everything that's named after an individual.
Yeah.
There's just like a council of these guys.
Murphy's Law.
Oh, yeah.
Pythagorean's Theorem.
Oh, you're the guy who did... No, that was Murphy.
Yeah. Because what's the other one? There's one that's similar to Murphy's Law, which I guess sort of is what Occam's razor is similar to Murphy's Law. Whatever.
Wouldn't that be chaos theory?
Yeah, maybe.
And then there's all kinds of laws.
Murphy's Law is everything that will go, anything that will go wrong will go wrong.
Anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Right. Oh, the guy that's not invited to their party is the lowest common denominator.
I also like Sturgeon's Law.
What's that one?
90% of everything is crap.
Oh, Well, I guess there's many, many laws, aren't there?
Oh yeah,
What's
and
the
many
one?
individuals who govern them.
What's the one that you've brought up and we've talked about in a couple cases wherein you think that you're the smartest, even though you're the dumbest,
That
Kreutzfeld or
that
whatever?
is the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Oh, Dunning-Kruger. What is Kreutzfeld? Why did that pop into my mind?
I
Just
don't know.
KR? Creutzfeld effect.
I don't know. Maybe that's
Oh,
Creutzfeldt-Jakob.
oh, yeah, the disease. That is what I'm thinking of.
Well done. I'm sure Creutzfeldt-Jakob leads to some cases of Dunning-Kruger,
Probably, yeah.
as people's brains get a bunch of holes in them.
Well,
Okay,
this has been a
so
fun little hole to fall down.
yeah, we fell down a hole, but we're still in a dingy basement.
Right. So, are we going to have a conversation with the
Yeah, probably. We're
Mandelalorian?
awake, but somebody's gonna dump a bucket of water on us anyways. And
Has
the
he
water bucket washes off our costumes.
does he do a bit of a monologue exposition dump to explain who he is? Because I don't think we actually established how he is or how he works when he talked to the crew. I don't remember.
I don't know if he's going to tell us anything. He deals with things that are subject to the Mandela effect after all.
Right.
So he's kind of freelancing by finding us.
Oh, so do we? Oh, do we plead with him, but he just stays silent, or does he try to have? He answers us reasoned and logically, but like gets impatient with our childishness.
Probably. I mean, he probably says, "Good, you're awake. That means we can go." Go
Right.
where?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are we doing with this scene? So are we just trying to transition to going somewhere, or somebody coming to where we are?
Actually, that's probably more likely is that somebody's going to come to where we are.
Because one of the things that you had mentioned in the Discord was that once he's found us and reported our uh, coordinates to the crew, then that what do you call it? Contract. That contract is up, and now he's a free agent again. And we had discussed maybe he immediately is then contracted by the alphabetical order.
For what purpose?
I'm not sure, to turn us into their possession.
I think they can come and get us themselves.
So
They have
has
the
he?
power.
Do they know? Do they just know where we are, or has he already? The moment he reported us to the crew, he saw there was an ad for the. Why would they be looking for us? I'm not sure how. Why did they come for us?
They know us.
Oh, right, they know us from the church.
Yeah, we've done a small adventure with them before.
Right, we did we do an adventure into the wreck of the thought yacht? Is that what that was?
That was one of them. We did another one with them where we had a statue that happened to be the female contestant from a game show.
There.
Yeah, that's a to leave
Ah, okay.
because his as far as he's concerned, his contract is up.
Okay, and then the
He found
moment
us
he
and he left us where they could find us. Now he can leave. In the interim between when the crew arrives, when the alphabetical order arrives, you know, they could one of them could get there before the other.
Okay, so are we sat there? Are we maybe drugged and we do one of those comedy scenes where we're like tied back to back? Oh, we could literally ape the Indiana Jones
Get out of here,
John Connor
monkey!
back to back, tied up or
Like in
whatever.
the rundown.
Yeah.
Get out of here, monkey!
Or we could immediately have representatives from the order come out saying, "Good, I thought that fool would never leave."
Well, it stands to reason to me that the alphabetical order should arrive first and get us out of our bindings
Yeah.
and start befriending us because we know them.
Right.
Hey, we know you guys from Kansas. We don't know they're the alphabetical order. We don't know that they're crazy and dangerous. As far as we know, they're just like church people. So they're like, hey, we know these guys. They must be here to help. But we don't quite leave immediately. We get into some kind of discussion during which the crew will arrive.
Does the basement where the Mandelalorian took us happen to be to a place that is operated or owned or somehow is like a satellite outpost of the order?
Probably
Is
not, but
it
it should probably be like in Kansas.
Like a place that they would. Did they just happen to be there, or were they looking for us?
Probably looking for us, but they probably saw us being taken in there by the Mandelalorian.
Okay, so that would make sense that it's somewhere in Kansas. Okay,
Yeah, might as well be. Kansas is one of the few stable locations that
right.
we've established, and the crew knows where it is,
That's true.
and the people
Okay,
of Kansas know us. So they saw us come in.
so even if we were to be like, how did you know where we were? We saw you being. Would they tell us that they saw us being dragged in there? They
Yeah, we
are
saw
trying
we
to.
saw you being carried unconscious into this place.
We're here to rescue you
Yeah, we're here to help. Oh, well, that's real nice of you. Where are we? Kansas.
again.
I guess we're in Kansas anymore.
I guess we're in Kansas. We're only in Kansas anymore.
We're only
We're
in Kansas anymore.
we're only ever in Kansas anymore.
That's just how it is.
That's interesting. So do we do like a little sad like do we owe these guys a life debt?
I guess maybe I don't know. We've done jobs for them already. Maybe we're even.
How do we try so do they take us?
Well, we probably walk right out the front of the building that we happen to be in. It's just like one of the nondescript unoccupied buildings located in Kansas.
Yeah.
So we're just standing out in front of the house, and the crew arrives. And there we are with the alphabetical order.
The crew arrives in Kansas with us with the alphabetical order?
We're in Kansas.
Yeah.
That's where we were taken by the Mandelalorian.
Yeah.
That's where the Mandelalorian told the crew they could find us.
Right.
So,
I
as
really
soon as the
okay.
Mandelalorian says that to the crew are en route. They were traveling there. The alphabetical order just happened to find us first.
I really have not been expecting them to find us at all. I thought that they would have been gone by the time I didn't expect us to cross paths.
With the crew?
Yeah, with the crew. I thought we were going to be sent off in the opposite direction again.
No reason. The crew's going to be sent off.
After seeing us?
The alphabetical order is going to see them off.
So they see us. Oh,
The
are the
alphabetical
alpha wait,
order
what
is currently recruiting us.
is the alphabetical order going to see them off before they can get to us?
No, but this isn't a video game where simply walking up to us and touching us actually wins an objective. They arrive while we're currently standing outside the building talking with the alphabetical order because we're in Kansas. So
Okay,
you can just stand and talk in the street, that's fine.
sure.
So there we are being recruited by the alphabetical order, these church friends who we've worked with in the past and
Yeah,
who just rescued us.
right.
So we have every reason to listen to what they have to say.
Sure.
They want us to get involved in their church and help them with a project.
Yeah.
We're all for it. The crew shows up. They want us to leave. They want to get out of the outside. They've been looking for us to rescue us from the outside literally this entire time. The last thing to do is to get involved in another quest.
But we're already so soaked in by the idea of going on the new quest.
Yes, and they start trying to talk us out of it. They're like, come on, we came all this way to rescue you. Stan is here. Craig is here. Gigi's here. You haven't even met Gigi, have you?
Okay, so it's like a refusal of the call scenario.
Yeah, they're the crew's trying to talk us out of it. Because the alphabetical order, the crew doesn't know who the alphabetical order is or that they're super dangerous and sinister.
And that's
But
reason enough by its own. We don't even know who these guys are.
yeah, and then Tucker and Todd were like, but we know them. We've worked with them before. We've been here a while, you know. We've
Yeah,
been here before.
they're
We've done
cool
this
guys.
lots of times.
They're cool guys. They're church guys.
They have a statue.
They're priests.
They're nice people. And the crew is trying to talk us out of getting further involved in the outside. They're like, no, we need to find a plan to get out of here. And it starts to work. It starts to work. We start being convinced. We're like, oh, man. And then off in the distance, there's the ding goes off again.
Oh, and then, but that, I think that would be like 4 or 5. And so one of us turns to the camera and kind of does like a hand to the throat, kind of like that's okay. That's enough with that one.
Yeah, that joke is tired. It's time to retire the joke.
Yeah.
So it goes in the bin, and then as the alphabetical order sees that we're starting to be pulled away from the task that they want us to get involved in, they decide enough is enough, and they use their outside shenanery to actually banish the crew out of the outside, back to reality.
Oops, there goes gravity.
Yeah, like they're like, all right, that's enough. They got to do a one liner. So nice of you guys to drop in, and then the portal opens up underneath the crew, and they all fall through it, and then and then they're gone. I think Tucker and Todd are more impressed than alarmed because of the one liner. It disarmed them.
It disarmed them. Like they're like, oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, drop in. That's a
They're
good
like,
one.
I mean, they're like, oh, that was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And now that the crew is banished back to the reality, we managed to get them together for a moment and then pulled them away again. But they're back in reality, and now Tucker and Todd are in the clutches of the alphabetical order, and they can,
Is it
they give them a little bit of praise.
is it also it's sort of like an inspirational aspirational moment where it's like the magic of the moment happens? There's like this big epic like grown up Harry Potter magic moment of like the dust settling out, all the whooshing and whatnot, and the flap of the sleeves, and we're both just like, whoa, that was actually pretty cool. Are we going to be able to do that? And so we're like inspired, and that sells us even further on helping them pursue their quest, that we are going to get to actually start ascending the ranks.
Are we ever going to learn how to do that? And then somebody very villainously does the finger steeple move, and they're like,
Yes, with
"Indeed,
time,
yes,
all in good
perhaps."
time.
And then that's a perfect opportunity for the screen to go black because we've been on Tucker and Todd for almost an hour.
Yeah, that's true. We got to go back now.
We need our buddy cops.
Oh, they're cruising. They're listening to Deep Purple.
Yes, in fact, they are going through. Oh no, they've already come out of the wormhole, so they're experiencing car trouble.
Oh, is it's like that point in Chile where engines don't work because the what's it called? Because you're too high up, the oxygen is too thin.
Turns out that they have no gas, and in fact, they never had any gas
Yeah, yeah.
because I guess that part of the car, not everything came through the same age.
Well, whose car was it again? Was it Columbo's or was it
This is
Bridges?
Columbo's. This is Columbo's old station wagon.
Okay.
It had gas when they left. That's an opportunity for the two buddy cops to start arguing. I thought you gassed this thing up before we left. I did. Then why is it empty now? It's not just empty. It's never been filled. How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense.
I thought it would have been cool if it was Jeff Bridges' Fantasology car and it like runs on dreams or something.
Well, it's Columbo's old station wagon, so now they're on the road and they're hitchhiking.
But it runs on nothing.
Well, it can't run on nothing, but it's currently trying to. The gas that they left with has yet to come out of the wormhole.
But so are we actually just going to handicap them like that? They're going to hitchhike? Would they not just take over? One of them is an Eldritch God. Are they going to not use powers, or are they just hitchhiking for comedy?
They are significantly depowered.
Oh.
Even
Oh,
here,
because it's the outside. Everything's upsy downsy.
well, ideally, Columbo should be at his absolute most powerful here, but much like Jeff Bridges is stripped of a lot of his heavenly power, Columbo is missing a lot of his stuff.
Because of
Not,
that's inherently how he is, or something's wrong with the outside right now that's causing that?
no, something took his powers away.
Being exiled or whatever. I can't remember what his
Yeah,
history was.
he's pretty much living in exile. He's hiding, and in order to sustain his existence outside of the outside, he had to leave a lot of the outside behind.
All right. So they're hitchhiking.
So yeah, they're not actually fully powered. They have a couple of tricks and stuff.
Does a gnome highway patrol pull like tell them off that they're not allowed to hitchhike? There's no hitchhiking in the outside.
No hitchhiking allowed. And
They
then
beat
there's
him
a
up and take his car.
yeah, I was gonna say there's a beat where Bridges and Columbo look at each other, and then it's immediate smash cut to a scene of them both crammed into a tiny gnome car.
With a gnome shaped hole in the ceiling
Yeah,
or in the windshield or whatever.
yeah, like
They're
there's no
they're
there's no remaining trace of the gnome patrol cops who were in there before, but now there's two grown adult men trying to fit into this little car. Each of them have to lean out of their particular side window.
Because of the blood spatter on the inside of the windshield? Or there's just
because
no
it's
trace
gnome
of that?
sized.
Yeah.
It's a car the size of a fucking shoebox. It's a miracle that these guys can sit down. There's probably enough room for one man's ass in there. They're squeezed in there, but whatever, it's transportation. So they're cruising in this little gnome mobile.
Are they squeezed in side by side or like a flume log? They're between each other's legs or whatever.
It's probably how they have to do it. And the guy sitting in the back has to work the gas.
Yeah.
The
With
guy
the with
sitting the guy sitting up front, his feet are actually on the hood.
with your
Place. Something's
that,
wrong. We have to go that way.
that looked awfully human or something like that.
Yeah,
That looked awfully worldly.
that's pretty good. And so they turn their gnome mobile around. It probably but it has to make like a little like tiny driving sounds. Whatever normal driving sounds there are, it has to make a tiny version of those sounds.
Yeah, driving sounds on helium.
Yeah, with like itty bitty tiny car screech. And
Its
so
own
they
little
start
clown horn.
yeah, and this so they start cruising in the direction of the mushroom cloud because unlike Tucker and Todd, their survival instinct is totally different. They don't go away from explosions; they go and investigate because we need them to encounter that glowing orb
Glowing orb, remind me of what that is. Oh, in the
at
pit, in the
at
crater.
the very center of the crater. There's a glowing ball of light.
Right.
It makes me think of that orb that you encounter in that first heavy metal movie that basically just causes misery and misfortune wherever it goes.
Right. Is that what it's going to be?
In a way, it's going to be something much worse.
Is it going to be something wet?
Yeah.
Moist, you
Yeah.
might say?
Yeah, it's going to encounter the Pacific Rim.
Right, okay.
Yeah, in fact, that green orb is going to grow until it's a man in a boat.
A man. Oh, okay.
I guess maybe you don't know that particular reference to the clitoris.
Oh, the man in the boat. Yes, I've heard of that as a reference to the clitoris. But that actually works. That's interesting.
Yes, it's going to be the sort of central nexus around which the rest of the wet ass Pacific manifests around.
Is somebody's like observing it from afar through binoculars or whatever? It looks like a man in a boat.
It starts growing and it actually is just sitting in a rowboat.
The guy that you did, is it the guy who was fleeing North Korea or whatever initially? He's a man in a boat.
Yes. Yes, for a brief moment the guy squints and it looks like the dude swimming back into North Korea to escape the wet ass Pacific. But yes,
uh,
Columbo and Bridges are on their way to go investigate because now there's just like a green light on the horizon.
they're driving off. Does the X-Files music play at that point?
It should, but like badly on a recorder.
Of course.
Now I'm thinking about it. I'm hearing it in my head. It's awful. I love it. It's great. So they're cruising in that direction. They arrive in time for the changes to begin. It's just an orb for now, but it's getting bigger. So it's growing and it's taken up most of the crater now.
But it's still just an orb.
Yeah, it's just a ball. It's not yet the complete man in the boat.
Is that what we transitioned to? We transitioned from them seeing the explosion and driving towards it, and then the next scene is them arriving.
I think we should see them arriving through the man's binoculars, since there's a guy with binoculars now. What is it? What do you see? Well, it looks like a if you squint, it looks like a man in a boat.
Are these?
Oh, what's that? What's that? And then there's two guys in a tiny little gnome car that pull up on the the rim of the crater.
Are the people who are? Because I wasn't even thinking of who the people with the binoculars were. Are the people with the binoculars the Cabbage family? Are they like how are you checking? Like they've been watching for updates on what's going on in the crater. They were the
I
first
I
to
am
see it.
I imagine they haven't left. It's either the cabbage farmer family or the gnomes that lost their vehicle.
The gnomes, the gnomes that lost their vehicle. The gnome police. They're like searching for the vehicle.
Yeah, with their gnome binoculars. which of course will extend like Looney Tunes style, where they telescope out and then up and then over and then down and then over.
Well, but now that doesn't work in the order then, because if they are announcing it looks like a man in a boat, then it has already transitioned from being a ball, though, right?
Yeah,
But if it's transitioned from being a ball, then that's after our investigators arrive when
yeah,
it's still a ball.
I know. Just assume that there was just a flicker of what it was going to be. That's why the guy says if you squint, it looks like a man in a boat.
Okay.
There was just like a very brief kind of intangible flicker of things to come. It's
But
not yet there, but it's starting to happen.
is that a waste of a joke for when it actually turns into a guy that is a man in a boat?
I think when he squints and says if you squint, it looks like a man in a boat, that's the opportunity for the joke to look like a Korean guy in a boat.
Oh, so that's the only time that it does look like a man in a boat and never actually does look like a man in a boat?
Yeah, it just kind of superimposes it right over it.
Okay.
I don't see any way to make a clitoral orb eventually actually look like a guy in a boat.
Well, that's some imagination you have there.
But I can't imagine it.
Yeah, I'm being facetious.
Okay, tell me how you imagine it.
Well, I would imagine that if anybody bothered calling it a man in a boat in the first place, then you would have to use some sort of imagination of making it look like a man in a boat. It looks kind of like a man in a sleeping bag or a kayak, I guess.
Only if you squint. Maybe it is starting to develop the hood. It's very soon it's going to need to be censored instead.
Anyhow, I guess we transition literally. There's some sort of transition from the people driving. I guess they show up at the crater. There's a ball. They're going to speak to the cabbage people.
Probably noticed that there's a couple of gawkers looking at this through binoculars.
The Gawkers are the people who they already stole the car from.
Nah, I think it's better if it's the cabbage farmers. Since they're on the scene, but they're probably not standing right next to the crater and the glowy bit.
Well, then forget the binoculars at all. I think there's going to need to be some better way. Maybe they're standing there, literally, they're not looking at binoculars. They're still standing there, and that's how they occupy their time now. They're standing there looking at it like art. And it's once again, oh, here's the best possible use of the Ethan Suplee from Mallrats thing.
Yeah, I was
Is
just about to
if
go
you
with him.
squint at it, it looks like a man in a boat. They're standing there with their heads at an angle, hands
It's
on their hips.
it's it's a sailboat.
I don't see it. You got to squint your eyes.
You gotta squint. And then as they squint, it actually does develop the hood.
Oh, he says you got to squint, and then Quint from Jaws shows up and says, "Are you gonna need a bigger boat?" And they're like, "We said squint, clearly."
And then he gets eaten by a shark for no reason. A portal opens up and a shark grabs him and pulls him into another portal. He's now been ejected from the scene.
Perfect.
And then I guess we're one development away from the orb needing to be censored.
Oh, does he get eaten by a shark, or does he he gets run over by Columbo and Bridges? He
Uh
just gets steamrolled. He
there
disappears under their miniature car.
Now that is kind of funny because it's small enough that it probably just kind of like bumps into them and squeaks. Like it just bumps into him and
Yeah.
like a clown nose.
Does it
But
have
if
an
it
impact
actually
on
but
him?
if it actually hits him with enough impact that it actually just like just like runs over him and leaves nothing but like strawberry jelly behind them. Oh, that's never coming out of the wheel well.
I was imagining him just like literally getting sucked under it and disappearing. He got cartoon disappeared.
Like a cartoon goose into a jet engine.
Yeah.
Just feathers come out.
That's funny. Just his clothes come out. He gets what's that called? He gets raptured.
Yeah, what is even up with this car?
It's from Toontown.
Yeah, it must be. So,
Anyhow,
yeah,
somehow we get rid of this character.
yeah, he's gone.
Our
By the
investigators
time
show up.
by the time our buddy cops show up, the man in the boat is actually you don't have to squint anymore to see it. It's there.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like that, which means that they're going to take one look at it and go, "Ugh." And then it's going to be censored and they'll be like, "Okay, that's better."
And what's
So
their
now
line of
it's
questioning? How long has this been like this?
what the hell happened here?
Well,
Does this have anything to do with that explosion? What happened? And then the cabbage farmers Start explaining the proud history of cabbage farming.
Indignantly and proudly.
Yeah, because so far this guy's only been able to tell this story to his son. So he's like, oh, thank God, somebody else to heap this onto.
And Columbo was like, excuse me, if I could, one less thing.
Yeah, one one less thing, not this. Can we move it along?
I didn't ask for your life story.
Because if we actually let them do the 1 hour later bit, the wet ass Pacific is going to be really close to being ready to hatch.
Yeah, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, because basically, it's going to breach reality as the cliffhanger. So
Are
they
they able
really
to
they
identify? What were you saying?
once it forms enough, Columbo sure identifies it.
Oh, does he have a I know what this is?
Oh, he knew what it was, or at least what it was a part of. As soon as he took a look at it, went ugh.
So is he staring at it, doing like silent Gandalf calculations in his head while Columbo is interviewing the other two or the family or whatever?
I think Columbo censored it for Bridges. Maybe that's how that should go. Bridges takes one look at what is very obviously becoming a clitoris, and he just goes, "Ugh, whoa,
And so, so does then Columbo interrupt as the lettuce farmers are talking about the proud history of
cabbage."
cabbages? Yeah, cabbage farmers. He interrupts them to say, "Listen, we need this. This is extremely serious. All I need to know was there nuclear activity here or something
Yeah.
like that?"
Yes, this is very interesting, but can we please move this along? What happened here? Was that mushroom cloud what I think it was? Was that a nuclear explosion? And did this start immediately after?
Bridges is like, "Do you have a point?"
The outside will defend itself. It kind of has a mind of its own.
Oh, I'm trying to think of. Oh, this is an Expanse reference again.
Lay it on me.
Well, they developed this proto molecule thing, which is a scouting organism from another dimension or whatever that's been sent to figure out if it can dominate our galaxy. And there's a certain point where it has this sort of eusocial hive mind ability to communicate with all other molecules that are of the same proto molecule or whatever. And they determined that like ballistic attacks against it make it more prone to try to strike out against whatever life forms are striking out at it, sort of thing. And so the outside knows that it has been aggressed, and so now it is forming. Is this is part of its defense mechanism?
Yeah, it's basically taken the energy that's been used to attack it and is now making use of it. It's an equal and opposite response. They've decided that the fabric of the outside has absorbed all that explosion, all that kinetic force, all that nuclear shit, and now it's going to create a monster and immediately send it back. And now we have a reason for it to be Godzilla powered with atomic breath.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It is now literally the product of nuclear fire.
So as
Yes, while they're questioning the cabbage farmers, this thing is finishing its creation. Like it's the entire thing is now manifesting. It's the orb is floated up into the sky, and then the rest of the WAP is just like appearing around it.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to imagine how that would play out. Like, I think Columbo was given the exposition that you just gave. What's happening? It's absorbing the nuclear energy and gestating this protective hell beast thing. And as he's finishing that little monologue, it starts making like creaking iceberg sounds, and that's when it morphs into its final form.
And then it does the a weird version of the Godzilla roar.
A very gurgly version of the Godzilla
Yes,
roar.
and sort of feminine in a terrifying way. Because let's never forget who this belongs to.
Oh, so
Cardi
it's a bit
B.
it's gurgly. Oh, is it oh, wait a second then. So is it doing one of her like ad lib noises that she makes, or is it doing like a ecstatic moan along with the gurgling? That's the Godzilla.
Oh, I think one of the ad lib notes would be good. I think that's the sound it should make when it shoots its laser beams.
That's the new I'm firing my laser. What was the noise that thing made?
It went shoop de whoop.
It was shoop de whoop. Yeah, the new shoop
But
de whoop is the
that's
new.
not as good as this. It goes. It
That's
it
pretty
it
funny.
makes the noise, and then the orb itself glows, and then it fires a laser directly from it.
But like a water laser, or is it a full-on laser?
I think it's a full-on laser that just like leaves a film on everything else around it.
Okay.
It probably vaporizes what it hits, and then everything else around gets splashed.
Yeah, it's like a mist and a steam left behind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Everybody winds up getting slimered.
So it's just mayhem. Oh, so one of the farmers then gets slimered, and then the other one that's left over is just
The
mortified.
senior farmer, he's like, "Get a load of that cunt," and it doesn't take too kindly to that shit.
He gets blasted. My
He's like,
relatives.
my only surviving father. And he's like, "Oh, what an ugly cunt," which is a Kathy Griffin joke.
What an ugly cunt.
And then it goes, and then lasers him directly, and everybody else gets just like splashed with a gush of this hot slime.
Oh, and is this? Oh, is it? It kind of turns into. Is this a Cloverfield cliffhanger where it goes one final time and it destroys the camera that's watching the scene and it zaps and goes to static?
Yes, but right before that happens, after Jeff Bridges gets splashed, I think he needs to take off his glasses, his sunglasses, so he's got like an outline of unsplashed face. And then he just kind of like shakes the stuff off his sunglasses.
Oh,
And then
does he
every
wryly remark, now that's a wet ass Pacific?
maybe he manages to go, "That's a wet ass puh," and then there's another skrrr, and then
That's
that's when a laser directly hits the audience perspective, and then it goes static and then black.
And then it cuts to the Bikini Bottom, like the SpongeBob final credits music over our final credits.
Yeah. If there's a post credit scene, it's going to be the younger farmer now saying that his new destiny is farming mushrooms.
Or that was like he's in some sort of facility or whatever, and that was his like villain origin story.
Oh, we just create villains left and right just accidentally.
Yeah. Well, his whole family got destroyed by a bizarre water blasty laser creature.
Well, he only had the one
Oh
family.
yeah, that's true. Just yeah.
His entire family has now been destroyed by the outside and outside related activities.
Poor guy.
But now we have birthed the WAP,
The WAP, it exists. It lives.
and in a way that's congruent with the story.
Yeah, because we were kind of twisting ourselves, bending ourselves over backwards, trying to figure out why it existed in the first place, how it got summoned.
And trying to deal with the fact that pretty much nobody had anything to say during the whole thing. Now that
Nobody.
we have some buddy cops, they can talk.
Yeah, that's true. The solution, I think, is still going to be a giant bucket and a mop for it.
Yeah, of course. But now it's going to be Bridges that's flying the helicopter while Columbo's got the bucket and the mop.
That's awesome.
He's going to jump out and dive right in, same as before.
Yeah, I'm recalling some of that now. Going back, I think Stan or somebody was mad about everybody's drowning in pussy except me.
That is a Stan problem. He thinks Craig fucks, especially now that Craig's got a woman living with him.
Yeah. I keep remembering that Craig had a visual update, and I want to actually do that. Maybe that's what I'll do tonight while this is editing. I'll do Craig's new body. I don't know why, just to have it.
I'm going to find some visual references for what I think of his lower section of body.
I was going to be going mainly off of Wally. What on earth is that?
That's from a game called Jet Force Gemini. That's Lupus.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's the upgraded form. The regular form, he's just like a kind of robo dog with jet feet.
Yeah.
And then when you upgrade him, he's a fucking tank dog.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, he's got a gun on his back. And then you upgrade him and he's an actual tank with he still has jets on him, but the other two characters they just get like more armored looking, a better space suit. And then he turns into a full-on tank with treads. He's like, I have evolved beyond legs.
I kind of like that idea. I like the idea of Craig being starting off as the treads, and then maybe in the future, then he can upgrade to jetpacks. He misses flying.
Oh, well, yeah, we can just like install some jet engines in his little undercarriage.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works. You just got like a series of jets in that little middle section between the treads, and it
What
just
did I
makes them lift
watch?
off.
The dumbest thing. Oh, I watched the Minions movie the other day, and
I
it
love the
has.
Minions.
Did you watch the movie, the Minions movie?
I've seen every movie that has the Minions in it.
That Rocket Woman, which is like basically they were like, I love watching films and imagining the writer's room and imagining the process of coming up with characters and such. And I feel like that woman is, I mean, I guess that's what we're literally doing. But that Rocket Woman is basically Iron Man on crack or whatever the way that you would phrase that.
Yes.
Just Iron Man to the nth degree.
Yes, she is.
So that's what I imagine when you said a rocket in the undercarriage. I also thought of my dog, if you know what I mean. Lupus.
Okay.
Yeah, that lady.
Yeah, I know. Just imagine the whap on her. Oh, I feel bad saying that.
Yeah, yuck.
Yeah, yuck indeed. It feels gross.
But also, imagine that discharge.
Yeah, just whatever it is, it's flammable.
I love the
Rocket
smell
fuel.
of napalm in the morning.
Just gelled fuel everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have anything else to add to this episode?
Maybe during the end credits, the music has to pause for another.
The end credits is all just like it's a Cardi B remix of the Tucker and Todd song.
Oh yeah, I'm into that. I also have a plan for how it's going to breach into our world.
What is going to breach into our world?
The wet ass Pacific needs to breach into our world.
Yeah.
To make the Pacific a whole lot wetter. It wants an aquatic environment, and there just isn't one where it is. But I've got a plan for how it gets there.
I'm just trying to do a little bit of, I guess, like pre-planning and housekeeping. Because this is episode 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we would have 4 left. Is there going to be a bigger, badder monster that results from this thing? Or is this thing going to persist for a couple episodes? And getting rid of it is like the last move?
Oh, I don't know if it's going to be able to persist for multiple episodes. It's so destructive that if it's allowed to actually run rampant for that long, it's going to be worse than the apocalypse that's currently happening.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the Alphabetical Order are the actual final boss.
Okay.
Which means technically Tucker and Todd might be.
Oh, yeah. Which makes them a very simple... Oh, because I remember... Yeah, never mind. I know how it's ending. We're ending with the factor or the restore point.
Yeah.
So it kind of doesn't even matter what the big bad... Oh, Tucker and Todd can be the final boss and they can win. And then there can be a restore point. It doesn't even matter what we do. We can do the craziest shit.
Yeah. Like send a gargantuan animated vagina to attack the Pacific Ocean and all the cities nearby to it.
Yeah.
Hard to think of anything crazier than a gargantuan monster vagina with a laser beam for a clip.
Hey, this gives us license to really go off the
rails. We've taken one look at the rails and sneered at them.
We said, rails where we're going, we don't need rails.
No, because we've got a vaginal rail gun.
Ooh, yeah. Well, that noise that you just made, that's how the episode ends.
Yeah, and I know how the next one begins.
Fantastic.
We'll have to catch up with the crew.
Oh, yeah, immediately on the other side of their zap plot point.
Yes, I think that's the perfect place to pick it up next week.
God damn it, we were feet away from them.
No kidding. Those poor bastards. They've gone through, they moved heaven and earth and gone through hell to get there.
Yeah.
And within like 5 minutes of being with their friends again, out. They were sucked in on a whim and then they were cast back out on a whim.
Oh, does that mean we bring the joke from the dead joke pile? A wheezing bell goes ding on the other side of the next episode because they're disappointed.
Oh, I think that's good.
Yeah.
No, actually, you just go to the dead joke bin, and from inside of it, you can hear somebody hitting the bell.
Oh, the distant echo.
Yeah, it's just kind of muffled inside of the box.
Yeah,
The dead joke box. In there, somebody hits the bell.
that works good.
Anyway, I think that's been a cast.
This was a podcast. We were Tucker and Todd.
You were an audience.
Yeah.
And you were Craig and Gigi, and thank you all for coming.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Fuck Tucker. Tucker sucks. And fuck Tucker's friend, Todd.